Out of all of the leaders throughout the entirety of history, there's one man who supposedly survived 638 assassination attempts. And that man is Fidel Castro, the communist dictator of Cuba, or Cuba. I don't know how you say it.
Cuba. Cuba.
This guy managed to survive, according to the documentary and book of the same name, 638 Ways to Kill Castro. This man survived 638 assassination attempts. These attempts were by the CIA, who don't like communists, the Cuban ultra-nationalists, the anti-revolutionaries, who didn't like communists, and the mob, the American mob, the gangsters, who, I don't know if they didn't like communists, but they liked to gamble. They liked running gambling, which got outlawed in Cuba. Basically, he had three big groups gunning for his head. Most of the time they were working together, and he managed to thwart them all and just die of natural... I think he died, like, in the 2010s. So, you know, he's chilling. He was chilling. He's dead now. Okay, so let's get on to this list. We've got to put shooting him in D tier. What a boring assassination attempt. A lot of these were like Hitman, James Bond, like spy versus spy. Some real tomfoolery. Some of these were just some harebrained schemes. And some of them were just to shoot him, which is like mad boring. Anyone could have done that, and somehow they didn't. Somehow they didn't shoot him. They couldn't just go up to a podium and blast him. And with that, I'm gonna put the mob shooting him, and that's gonna go C tier, just above, because I feel that's a little bit better. That's a little bit more creative. I mean, this was the 60s, so I don't know if they do the full fedora and Tommy gun, but like I feel like they should theme it that way. That'd be funny. Exploding him. There were a lot of them where they were just gonna blow him up with C4 plastic explosive. I think we could put that C tier. It's kind of lame, you know, blowing him up in his car on a podium while he's driving across the street in his house. You know what, this is boring. Let's get to a good one. I mean, the chocolate milkshake assassination has to be A. According to this story, they were going to poison him with a chocolate milkshake. Fidel Castro, famously, he loved dairy, he loved his milk, he loved his ice cream. And there's an assassin hired by the CIA that was going to give him a chocolate milkshake with poison in it. He left the capsule of poison in the freezer, and when he went to get it, it broke. So he just ended up making him a milkshake. So it can't quite be S, because that's a lame way for it to be thwarted. But it gets an A for good, like, style Hitman points. You know what does get an S? Even though I mean, I guess it's not really an assassination attempt. The mog him strategy. The get rid of his beard, the shave him clean strategy. So apparently they were going to put thallium salts in this guy's boots, and they're meant to make him go bald and lose his beard, his iconic Castro beard. So I think this goes in S tier. I mean, it wasn't really an assassination attempt, but I guess it was an assassination of character. They were going to mog him, they were going to make him look soy, they were going to chin check him. So I think that belongs in S tier. What else do we have here? They were going to shoot him with a bazooka. That was a pretty good plan. I'll give that a B. I'll give that a B. So they were going to go to an apartment right across the road from where he was holding a speech, and they were just going to shoot him with a bazooka from the window. I believe it got thwarted because they couldn't figure out a way to hide a bazooka. Like no shit. Here, let's get some lame ones out the way. D tier, another D tier. Stabbing him. There was a plan of they were just gonna stab him. They were just gonna rush the stage and stab him. Another, actually, I'm tempted to put this in D tier. Well, see, I'm actually gonna put it in B because I can't believe the amount of times looking through the book. And almost, I can't believe it, actually half of them were to throw grenades at him. They were going to throw grenades at him at a speech, at his car, at a funeral. They were planning to assassinate the head of the police to get him to a funeral so that they could throw grenades at him. Okay, grenade, I think I'll just give B tier because they were spamming this shit out. They really wanted a grenade kill, man. In fact, a few of these are actually, I have baseball. I think 3 separate times. The plan to assassinate Fidel Castro was to go to a baseball game that he was at and throw grenades at him. In fact, hang on. Another one of the plans was to throw like a Rainbow Six Siege impact grenade looking like a softball at his car. So I guess it's another grenade. 90% of the assassination attempts were just grenades. Let's get on to some of the James Bond kind of shit. They were going to poison a pen and poke him with it. I mean, that's creative. That gets James Bond points. But the reason they didn't go through with it is, I believe, the exact same day that they were going to put this plan into practice. The exact same day JFK got killed. So, I don't know, maybe everyone just had second thoughts about assassinations. They were also going to plan to poison his cigars. I mean, that gets... hang on. Poison cigar gets B tier. Because, I mean, that's alright. That's interesting. A little bit James Bondy. But, like, I want, like, goofy goober wacky stuff. Explosive cigar. I think that's a real comedy move. I think that's some real tomfoolery. I like that. I like the explosive cigar. That goes in A. That goes in A. You know what else goes in A? I'm going to put LSD in A. I think LSD. What they were going to do is, I guess this also is an assassination attempt, but at a speech at a TV station, they were going to either administer him LSD, or they were going to put LSD in the TV station. Somehow they were going to get LSD into this guy, and they were just going to kind of hope that he was going to act wacko. The CIA was really big fans of LSD at this time. Surface-to-air missile? I mean, it's kind of fine, but nothing really came of it, but there was a plan for some Cuban nationalists to just shoot him out of the air with a surface-to-air missile. I mean, that's alright. One of the real comedy ones is they like 3 separate times they were gonna shoot a mortar at him. Forget like any subtlety. No, we're just gonna shoot a mortar at him. Speaking of no subtlety, I mean, I guess this counts. The Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961. Basically, in 1961, the CIA was gonna get a bunch of Cuban nationalists and train them up for an invasion. The invasion got quashed in a couple of hours, I believe. And the plan was to make it look like, oh, look at these Cuban nationalists doing their own thing. But it was kind of just obvious that it was the CIA trying to invade their neighbor. I think one of the other, like, absolute bangers that I read was they were going to poison scuba gear. There was an American lawyer who was doing business in Cuba, and they were going to use to give Fidel Castro some scuba gear that was lined with like a bad fungus, and the fungus was basically meant to kill him. And the reason that this plan didn't go through is that the lawyer didn't want to kill Castro, and out of his own volition just ended up giving Castro a new diving suit. Jeep drive-by? There were a lot of like throw grenades at him drive-by. I think Jeep drive-by was probably my favorite. They were just going to drive up to him and throw grenades. I mean, this is a combination, so I have to put it in higher B tier. They were just going to throw grenades and shoot at him with a bazooka. One of the plans was cyanide bullets and rockets. I mean, that's more creative. Now you're getting into the poison territory, which is fun. That's Hitman, that's James Bond. But, I mean, it's still kind of boring. What's not boring? The camera gun. So they were going to use a camera. I'm putting S. What they were going to do is they were going to use a camera and they were going to put a gun inside of it. And basically, these two guys were going to go up to him at a press event and be like, hey, smile, and I guess shoot him in the head. Which I've already put D tier, but I mean, it's the planning, it's the experimentation, it's the creativity, it's the comedy. I think that has to go S. You know what else could definitely go S? Going back to the diving. They were gonna paint a seashell and make it explosive and put like dynamite in it, so that when he would go diving, because he was an avid diver, I guess, in Cuba, they were gonna bomb Fidel Castro. I think that deserves some points for just the creativity. I mean, that's some Looney Tunes, like Hitman, Spy vs. Spy tomfoolery of like a painted explosive seashell, and he was gonna go, ooh, how pretty, and it was gonna explode on him. It was gonna do like the Looney Tunes like soot face thing. So I think that's pretty good. That's got creativity points. Another plan for D tier. These Cuban nationalists were going to bomb Fidel Castro in one of his like American estates, and the bombs the bombs were actually found by the FBI, and the FBI arrested these Cuban nationalists, and then the CIA was like, nah, these guys are chill, and released them. I mean that's just, it's just silly. It just shows no one knew what they were doing with this guy. One of the most convoluted plans. I was gonna put this in D because it was so convoluted and just a nothing burger, but it might have to go A. It gets A for comedy points. They were gonna femme fatale him. They were gonna use the Black Widow perk. So the crux of this plan was the CIA goes to the mob and they're like, we should kill Castro. What are we gonna do? And they were hoping the mob would just gun him down in the street. But the mob was like, we can go more James Bond than that. We're gonna hire a lady. We're gonna hire his German ex-lover to go into his room and assassinate him with some poison. What ended up happening was the poison pills this lady had, I guess melted in a like moisturizer jar where she was hiding it. And Castro kind of, you know, he was getting a bit antsy. He sussed out that she wanted to kill him. And he just straight up asked, are you here to kill me? And she was like, yeah, I am. And he just gave her a gun and said, hey, shoot me. And she ended up hesitating for like a full minute and was like, nah, I guess I'm not gonna shoot you. She ended up just crying and not shooting him. And the whole plan that was like an entire intelligence agency, then given to the mob, then centralized on one person who was his ex, and it all just fell apart. I guess we're getting to the end here. The molten steel. The molten steel, I guess, has to go. I'm gonna put it A tier. It just feels right. There was a disgruntled steel worker. I mean, does this even count as an assassination attempt? There was a disgruntled steel worker in Cuba, and his plan was to get all of the workers when Castro would visit the steel mill, and to just push him in a vat of molten iron, and just kill him. And I don't know, he would melt like the end of Terminator. So I mean, that gets points. That gets points for the Terminator reference. I like that. I like that we have James Bond references, now we have Terminator references. So yeah, I feel like we have a good spread of like James Bond, Spy vs. Spy, Hitman, Looney Tunes, you know, some real action hero stuff. 638 times according to his bodyguard, and they couldn't get it done. So yeah, resilient guy. So I guess that wraps up the tier list of Fidel Castro assassination attempts. I really like this S tier. I feel like this is a strong S tier. Maybe move the camera over, because the diving combo. I mean, that's a good combo. That would kill me. I mean, I guess probably all of these would kill me. Now that I think about it, I would probably fall for the chocolate milkshake. Like, I don't know why I'm like, oh yeah, I'm shooting him in D tier. I would survive that. No. But yeah, I hope this was a good list. I hope that you agree. If you did not, leave it down in the comments. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye. I'm like mad sick right now.